Well, hello, hustler. Welcome to another episode of the Wellness Hustle. I'm Brit Tincup. I'm a creative designer, a serial entrepreneur who lived with chronic stress that had me testing every health and fitness tip and trick that would make me feel like myself again. And I'm joined by my co-host, Sasha Fisher, an ex-pro athlete, personal trainer, and nutritional therapy practitioner with years of experience helping high-achieving individuals to reach their health and fitness goals. We're here to redefine what wellness means, simplifying health, fitness, and self-care, empowering you to fuel ambition and embrace wellness, because we believe that hustle isn't a bad word. When applied properly, it's a superpower. Now let's jump in. Welcome back to another episode of the Wellness Hustle. We are so excited you're here, and we have a really cool topic for you, and one that I think is really relevant at the end of January, which is, or I guess the beginning of February, is motivation, right?
Mhm.
Everybody wants it. We all lack it occasionally. Yep. It's hard to get going, and it's even harder to keep.
Harder to keep it, especially now, right? Woo, days are still short.
Oh gosh, I can't wait. I saw
Can't wait
something.
till spring. Yep.
I saw something like a Instagram or TikTok or something that said that it was like 42 days until the sun sets at 7. And I was like, yes, we're almost there.
We're almost there. We're counting days.
Yeah. But we wanted to dive into the science and give you guys some tools for getting and staying motivated. And I'm really into like the psychology behind things and why we do and make the choices that we make as people in society.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of cool things to cover. Do you want to tell them what it is?
Sure. So here's what we're going to be covering today. Understanding the two types of motivation, understanding the psychology behind motivation, common motivational killers, what to do when you're struggling to start. And the final one is our 60-second motivational reset.
That's my favorite because honestly, I've been struggling with motivation recently. And so the 60-second motivation reset has really helped me.
Yep.
So let's start first by understanding what motivation actually is. And that really is the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation.
Right. And what are those two?
Yeah. So I think it's really simple because it's internal versus external.
Exactly. So the intrinsic one is driven by personal satisfaction. Like I work out because I love how I feel afterwards. And that's my husband. I cannot believe this man every evening, 4 o'clock, he makes himself a cup of coffee and he disappears in the gym.
I don't know how men work out.
It's amazing. I mean, he is amazing. Like, yeah.
We love Pat.
We love Pat.
And then extrinsic, which is driven by external rewards. So that's I work out to get compliments or hit a certain number on the scale.
Right.
So that's outside of yourself.
Exactly.
Sasha, what is your intrinsic and extrinsic motivation?
I think those changed over the years, but where I am right now is I obviously love feeling strong. I love feeling healthy, energized. And also I love feeling strong for the new sport that I picked up a couple of years ago. That's dressage.
Yeah.
And that's been my intrinsic.
Okay. What's your extrinsic?
And extrinsic, I feel like I need to be best version of myself for my clients. So if I'm not walking the walk, just talking to talk, I just feel like it's not really, it's not who I want to be.
It's accountability for you.
Yeah, it is.
So mine are intrinsic is like, I want to have a long, healthy and full life and just like operate at my full potential. And then I think my extrinsic is I want to, similar to you, be accountable and to live by example and motivate others to do the same. So hopefully that's what this podcast does.
Right. And I think that's basically, that was the biggest reason why we wanted to start this podcast.
Yeah.
So we are aligning very much so on our extrinsic.
It's important to understand that motivation is different than discipline.
100%. Those two are completely different things.
Yeah. So we also wanted to talk a little bit like you can have intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, and understanding what those are important. But you need to have the discipline to keep that motivation going. So
100%.
Motivation is like the emotional drive or desire to take action.
Yes.
So that's often like, influenced by external factors, which again goes to the extrinsic. It's like, okay, well, I want to leave an impact on society. And so I want to be accountable and I want to help others.
Right.
So,
And the discipline is the ability to take action regardless of motivation. This is a huge one. People don't really maybe think about it, but that's where discipline is so important to continue with your motivation. So actually, maybe you're not looking for more motivation. You actually need more discipline in your life.
right. And
yeah,
that's all built through habits and structure and consistency, which I think Pat is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Like at 4:00, he has his cup of coffee and he works out.
That's it.
And it relies on a commitment rather than your feelings, which motivation can be very like, it can go by the wayside because you're like, right now, I don't feel like it. Like I never
Exactly.
feel like working out.
Right. Like not many people do except Pat. I feel like he is.
Pat is the exception.
Yes, exactly.
Motivation is just like super unreliable. And I feel like discipline is more
Sustainable. Correct.
Yeah.
So for the long-term success, you need both motivation. Yeah, because it's going to light up the fire. It's like a little spark. But the discipline is going to ensure that the fire keeps burning.
Yeah. I love that analogy so much. And it's a mindset shift. And I think like I wanted to get into some of the science behind it because I learned about Maslow's hierarchy of needs when I was in college, and it has helped me a lot to understand. Just for those of you who don't know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs was developed by Abraham Maslow. He's an American psychologist, and he developed this in 1943.
Wow.
And I love it because it really brings us back to the primal pieces of human nature. And he introduced this in a paper that is called A Theory of Human Motivation. And the reason I'm bringing that on because it's human motivation is what we're talking about here. And it's basically proposing that human needs are arranged in a hierarchy based on the physiological needs at the bottom of that chart. So
yes, survival,
right? So it's explaining motivation as a progression of needs, human needs.
Yeah.
And just like what Sasha just said, your basic survival needs before pursuing higher levels of personal growth are most important. So if like you don't have access to food, your motivation is going to be different. You always see people who are really, really successful and they started out with nothing. Tony Robbins was starving. Like they didn't have food sometimes. They were on food stamps.
Yes.
So he has a different kind of drive and discipline because he knows what it's like to starve.
Exactly.
So let's jump into those real quick.
So the first one is psychological needs, survival, motivation. Those are like simple things like food, water, sleep. We all know how we feel if we don't get sleep, exercise, just the basic health needs.
And it's interesting because the last few weeks I've been struggling with my health because I just have a lot on my plate right now. And I'm finding that I can't do anything else. I literally am just like, how do I get 3 meals in? How do I get to the gym? And how do I go to bed on time? And like work. That's it. I need to make money and focus on my health.
Exactly. And if you don't have health, and that's another reason why we started this podcast. If you don't have health, you cannot have anything else that is successful long term.
Right. So then the next one is your safety. So that's security and stability motivation. Like if you're not financially stable or you don't have a safe environment or health security. So if you're going through an illness, then you need to like handle this one first. Motivation might look like working out to prevent disease or like changing your eating habits.
Exactly.
And then the next one is love and belonging.
Yeah, so the love and relationships obviously are very important to a lot of people, but we can't get to it. We can't make them a priority if we are not taking care of ourselves. Again, that's what you always like to say about the mask, the oxygen mask being pulled down, and you're going to put it on yourself first, and then you can share it with your kid or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. And then next is esteem needs. So that's achievement and confidence motivation. So that's just like getting recognition. So that's the validation that you get. You know, if you constantly are doing something great and nobody's recognizing it, you kind of burn out a little bit.
Yep.
Or you don't see results, you kind of burn out a little bit.
Yep.
So this is where you're seeking like the motivation to hit your personal goals, improve your body composition, or prove something to yourself or to somebody else.
Yep. And the next one is self-actualization. So that's a purpose-driven motivation. So it's a personal growth. So when you slept well, then you can probably read that book, right? To kind of grow within that. Fulfillment and reaching for full potential. That's where you can really reach for full potential once all those things that we just talked about are fulfilled.
And that's when motivation becomes like super intrinsic, because like
Yes.
you're really just doing things to just be great for
Exactly.
yourself. Take yourself to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, again, like the reason I wanted to bring that up is because that motivation is going to change depending on where you are in Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yep.
And you know, the higher levels kind of shift towards intrinsic motivation, which I think is interesting because you stop looking for validation towards others because you've already established. Like, I feel like I'm there with this podcast. Like my last podcast, I was like, I want to know, like, I want everybody to think I'm cool and I want them to like me and I want them to da 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 da. And this one, I'm like, I just want to help people. Like, I just want people to know what I've been talking about for the last 3 years and been obsessed with. And it's helped me. I wanted to help them.
Exactly. And I feel like that's the ultimate goal for everyone, right? To be in that place where you don't give two poops about what other people think. You just follow your gut, your heart, and you just love your life and love what you're doing and trying to help others. I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah. So I wanted to also touch on Tony Robbins' kind of newer perspective, which goes, it just, you know, obviously that was in 1943. So
few years passed by.
Yeah,
just
so
few.
Exactly. So I feel like Tony Robbins, he kind of he added on a sixth one. There's only 5 in Maslow's hierarchy. He added on a 6 of the human needs, and they're very similar to the hierarchy of needs, but I feel like they're more applicable to like today's day and age, and it breaks it down so simply. And his concept is that you're going to take, everybody values 2 of these things. People aren't really going in the order because we have social media, right? So
Okay.
like, you can get validation right out. Like, we're kind of looking for the extrinsic thing.
Oh, totally.
So I'm going to run through these really quick. The 6 human needs, according to Tony Robbins, is certainty, which is comfort and security; uncertainty or variety, which is adventure and challenge; significance, which is recognition and importance. That's kind of the social media thing.
Yep.
Connection,
belonging and relationships.
Yep. Growth, personal development and learning; and then contribution, which is giving and serving others. I love the addition of the contribution part.
Yep, me too.
Because I feel like once you get that intrinsic motivation, you can go out and say, I've been practicing this for 3 years. I feel comfortable in it. I know how to make the adjustments. And now I feel comfortable sitting with Sasha and saying, let's talk a little bit about this. I've done it. So I know what it takes to do that thing. And I can say with honesty and comfort that like, this is how I did it. And so it feels more secure to me. So I can kind of turn external now and not be like grasping at validation that kind of doesn't fulfill me. It's more of a giving. The contribution part is more of like a giving part of it, right? It's like, I want to give back the thing that I know. So essentially, like, these needs are going to shape our emotions, behavior, and our actions. And each of those needs has a negative and a positive depending on the intention behind each and every one. So if you're going to do something that's going to give you validation, and to my point, like, I was looking for validation because I wanted people to tell me I was great. And now I'm like, I don't think I'm great, but I have some things figured out. So I don't look for that validation.
Right. It's taking focus away from you to on others. Like, I don't care about what people think about me. What I care about is how I can help others.
Exactly. And a lot of people put like significance first without doing anything else and hoping that they're going to be significant to people, and that will make people love and connect with them. But if you were to start with connection and contribution, then maybe you would just get that significance.
I think it's the only way to get significance. Otherwise, it's empty and kind of meaningless. Yeah. Like, what are you significant about? Just being significant?
Right.
Just doesn't make any sense. So it's like putting wagon in front of the horse. Is that what you guys say in the United States? Or we say it in Russia? I forget.
I don't even know.
Oh, no, we say it in Russia. Wagon in front of the horse.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You're putting the wagon in front of the horse.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where you get discipline versus motivation too. It's easier to be disciplined about something when you're doing it from a place of service.
Oh, 100%. Because it's not just about you. Other people are relying on you. So you kind of have that little bit of, what is the word?
Should we use fire?
Fire, but also accountability. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So there is a piece of accountability when you're not doing it for yourself.
Exactly.
Just for yourself.
So moving on from that, what are the biggest obstacles to motivation that vary from person to person, but like, what are the most common challenges?
I think Number one is lack of clear goal. So people kind of think, oh, we talked about this in the previous episode. I want to get fit, right? But there's no specific. What is fit? What does it mean to you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it has to be a clear goal. What does it look like for you? So solution is set smart goals, which are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's with everything. It's not just your wellness. It's with everything in life.
I love this next one too, because relying too much on willpower.
Oh yeah, you're only as strong as your willpower, but if your options are, you're always gonna fail, and there's only so much willpower you have in a day.
Well, it's like, don't keep the chippies in there
Exactly.
because you're going to eat them.
Right.
So you have to like build habits and systems so that discipline takes over when motivation falls through.
Right. Yes. And the third one is fear of failure or perfectionism. I'm so good at this. It's taken me for the longest time.
You can't figure it out because I don't.
Well, you just have to start and do it.
Yeah.
Because when you're willing to wait till you get perfect at something, you're never going to start because there's no such a thing.
No.
And you need to be willing to be the beginner and failure and look like an idiot.
Yeah, like maybe you can't pick up the dumbbells. Maybe you have to do just like body weight.
Body weight.
And
yeah.
that's okay.
And it's okay.
Eventually you'll be able to do dumbbells. You'll be able to pick up heavier weights. Like
exactly.
It's a progressive load.
Exactly.
I think the other thing in that space is like talking about fear in general. Like fear stops you from doing so many things, and it's really just your ego.
It's ego, but fear. Why? What are you fearing? Like, what are you scared of? Not being perfect.
Right.
So that's why they go together. Yeah, you're fearing of looking like an idiot.
Or not
basically
getting that external validation that you want.
Yeah, there we go.
The fourth one is overwhelm and lack of structure. So, big goals feel really intimidating and will like essentially just give you paralysis.
Oh, right.
So I think here it's like breaking goals into small, manageable steps and then taking keyword consistent action. This has been an area for me that's been really hard because I get very overwhelmed with like how many things I have to get done. That's been January for me.
Yeah, same here. I feel like, Ed, but you have to write it down and schedule in your planner. And then it looks like you look at the planner, you look at your piece of paper and you're like, okay, I'm doing this. Yeah. So instead of sitting there and being overwhelmed, you have a plan. So you can just cross things over as you go.
It's like what you always say, just like schedule it. Okay, so then
the next one is external distraction and instant gratification. I think you can talk about external distractions for sure.
Hi, I have ADHD. I'm super squirrely. Like I am distracted. I hate when people DM me. Like I'm so bad at DMs. You guys never DM me if you need something from me because it's overwhelming for me. Like if I go into social media, I'm now lost. Like I go in there and think like, oh, I got to respond to so-and-so. And next thing I know, I'm scrolling for however long. I mean, I'm watching reality TV right now and I watched 3 episodes last night and it was past my bedtime. And I'm like, how did I even get here? I'm so good about my nighttime routine. How the hell did that happen?
Oh boy.
So it's just like, what are your external distractions? And then those are making you procrastinate. Time is like the only thing you cannot get back.
You cannot.
It is the most valuable resource that we have. And we waste it.
Waste it.
Constantly.
On stupid shit. Constantly. I am good at that too.
Yeah. So I think like create an environment that supports focus and like removes temptations. The way that I do this too is I set alarms for myself.
Okay.
So in the morning, part of my routine is that I can read. I could get lost in a book and forget what time it is. And know.
Easy.
So I will set an alarm at 7:00 that says go to the gym. And then it's like, I have to get up.
You have to get up and go. Done. Yeah. And I just tell myself I'm only allowed to have one show at night, no more. Because I've done too many times where I watched one after the other and next thing you know, it's 1 a.m. and I have to get up at 6:30. What an idiot. No, I'm not doing this again.
Yeah. Next one is emotional and mental barriers. So stress, self-doubt, negative self-talk. I mean, you're only as good as you talk to yourself.
Oh, right. And your stories you created, right? Yep. My family was unhealthy, so I'm unhealthy. My mom could never lose weight, so I will never be able to. I tried every single thing there is to try. It's just not working. It's not for me.
I feel like in this area, just reframe those setbacks that you have established that are setbacks as learning opportunities.
Yeah.
Like embrace the failure almost.
And say, okay, I tried this. It's not for me. I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then lack of immediate results.
Oh, well, yeah. Hello.
I mean, I don't understand why I don't have a six pack and my biceps aren't perfect. So
I just eat one salad.
I
don't understand.
I don't get it. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think with this is like your solution is just like track your small wins and trust the process.
And be real with yourself. It's not going to take a month for you to get to your big goal.
Yeah.
So have small goals, have big goal, and
Yeah.
measure your small goals, because the big goal is not going to be measurable right away.
Yeah. Break it down and simplify it for sure.
Yeah.
So like with all of this information, what's your go-to advice for someone struggling to start?
I always say body in motion stays in motion.
I love that.
If you are feeling like you're stuck and you can't get out, you just have to do one small thing, the low-hanging fruit, whatever it is, just start there. Even if it's like, okay, I'm going to do 5 squats when I'm brushing my teeth, or whatever, something little, something so little and easy, and start there. Once you start there, then you can think of the next step. But as you're sitting and procrastinating, you're just pushing that more farther and farther away from you.
Yeah. I think for me, it's like, I like to simplify it. So breaking it down into like smaller days and just like taking action on the one thing, just like you were saying, right? Like a body in motion stays in motion. I also love the concept of like The Power of One More, which I got from Ed Milet. It's a great book. If you haven't read it, you should.
Yeah, it's great.
But it's just that like, if you are doing a set and you're supposed to do 8 reps, and you're on the 5th one and you're like, God, I'm never going to get to the 8th one. Like, I'm never going to make it. I don't think I can do another one. It's like, just change that mindset to like, I can do one more. Can I do one more? Can I do one more? And next thing you know, you've done 10.
Yeah. I think it's great. I think you can apply it to a lot of different things, but I play that game with my clients all the time.
Yeah. No, it's fun.
It's fun. Yeah.
And the other thing is too, like, put your phone away. Like for me, I will put my phone across the room and just like be laser beam focused on whatever's in front of me. And sometimes I do that even when I'm watching TV.
Oh, you have to do. Otherwise, why are you watching TV? Because you're going to be on your phone.
You just like, we're doing too many things.
Too many things at the same time.
Simplify it. Okay. So if you had to give like a motivational reset in 60 seconds, like what are you doing in 60 seconds to just like go?
This is what I do with myself. I don't know if it's going to work for others, but I stole it from Tony Robbins. Again, Tony, if you're listening, thank you.
Hello.
Hello. He said that when you're doing a hard thing, your brain has to tell the body to do it. You count to 3 and you do it. So that's what I've been implementing lately, and it's working. I started that with my face plunge, the ice face plunge, and I would just get to the bowl with ice and I would be like, okay, you're doing it. 1, 2, 3. And I go. And the more you do it, the better you become. So then you can conquer other things in your life. Like right now, I'm not standing in the front of the bowl anymore with ice. I just do it. But another thing I started to do is implementing cold shower, like for a few seconds after my normal shower before I get out.
Yep.
And that is a flipping bitch. It's a torture, like beyond belief. But I have this thing that I'm already kind of familiar with, that my brain knows that I'm going to tell my body, and my body better do it. So now I stand in the front, staring like crazy. Yeah. I stand in the front of my shower and I was like, all right, 1, 2, 3. And I flip to the cold water and I just go in and I hit every second of it. But when I get out, A, I did it, and B, I feel so much better. Like my energy is different. Like I just love that. I don't do it every time though, because it's torture, but I do that.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I always like to start adding things in, but like I wanted to add a cold shower in before I go to the gym. Like I want to earn my coffee in the morning. And so I'm like thinking about adding that in, but it's funny that you brought that up.
Yeah, try it and let me know. But try that. Like tell your body to do it. 1, 2, 3 and do it.
I've done them before. They're brutal.
They suck.
I mean, also if you watch the face plunge video on our Instagram with me, so great. I did you can see it happening. I'm like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I like jump my face into the water bowl, which is like freezing cold. And then I was like, whoa, no, I hated that. And I jumped back out. But it's like, you kind of have to understand that you have to do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you have to like take action and kind of just like force yourself to be uncomfortable.
Right. And then you get your own respect for that.
That's a big thing too, is like you're generating your own. Look, here's the thing. A muscle only grows if you tear it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want big muscles, you have to literally damage your muscles.
Yeah, that's what we do in the gym with those dumbbells.
So if you want to do a face plunge, it's going to be really fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then you just have to do it, and then you'll get a result.
You glow.
So mine, and I can't take full credit because I got it from Mel Robbins and I kind of just like adapted it, but it's from her 5-second rule and I added like a little twist to it. But essentially, and the best way to explain this is if you're laying in bed and you don't want to go do something. Oh, I did this recently on the couch. I was sitting on the couch and I was like, I cannot.
The couch at night is...
I can't get up. I don't want to do the dishes. So I was like, okay, if I don't do the dishes, then I'm going to wake up and there's going to be dishes in the sink. And then I'm going to have to wash the dishes in the morning. And then the dishes. So I'll kind of like do that. Like, what are the negative outcomes if I don't do this thing? So it's kind of setting up like, that goes against the kind of person I envision myself to be.
Yep.
So then from there, we'll be like, that's one of my goals, is to be better. You know, you're kind of going through that like mental shift, and I let myself do that for a second. And then I'll count down from 5 and I'll do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'll just be like, go.
So you still do count. See, that counting is helping.
It's weird. It's so
weird,
simple.
But you have to tell yourself, and you have to go. You can't just count to 100.
I like
fall asleep back on the couch. It's not gonna work.
Totally would. I think too is like, because I even say go at the end of it. I'll be like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I say go too, especially in that cold shower. I'm like 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah.
And I go and oh God.
And then you tense up.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got this. It's gonna be okay.
Breathe.
It's always like harder in your mind.
It is.
It's harder in your mind than it is in reality. I also think that like, I mean, it is.
It is 100%.
Like, you think that lifting weights is going to be hard.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
Only like last couple reps are hard.
Oh, exactly. Getting started, it should be the easiest part. We just don't do it because we create all these mental blocks around why we can't. So I don't know. I have this thing that your mind is so powerful and your body is so capable.
Yeah.
So you have to be in control of your mind
and your body. So your mind should tell your body what to do and you should do it. That's basically what we're training ourselves to do here.
All those like negative thoughts and all of those things that I think I'm not capable of because I've created some sort of self-doubt or some sort of roadblock that doesn't even exist yet. I don't even know that that's going to be the outcome. I've just created that concept in my head that it's going to be too hard and I won't be able to do it or whatever it is. Those don't even apply once you just do it. Just take action.
Right. 1, 2, 3, go.
So taking action is really just the key thing, you guys. It's really not that complex. At the end of the day, motivation just comes down to doing it.
Yeah. Discipline.
And consistency.
And in the end, it's all about commitment to your big goal, taking small little steps, checking them off the box that makes you feel good, and continue, put your head down and keep working at whatever you're working. Just, drilling in one place of the wall. I always say, just don't get scatter-minded about different things. Just pick one thing and focus on that.
Yeah.
And some days would be harder and some days would be easier, but just build those habits.
Yeah. And give yourself grace. You can always get back on the bike. But we appreciate you guys for being here.
Challenge yourself. Yeah, challenge yourself and stay motivated and let us know what are the biggest roadblocks for you guys.
Yeah.
To stay motivated. Thank
you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Wellness Hustle. You guys can follow us on Instagram at Wellness Hustle Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review.
Like, share, all of the things.
Do all the things. And we'll see you on another time.
Yep. See ya.